Hello, my name is Aditya Raj, and today we are going to talk about decarbonizing mobility in cities. The things that we are going to talk about in this video are majorly in the context of Delhi. So let's begin. Let's ask ourselves why. Why are we discussing this? What's the need? Cars, which were a tool of freedom when they were invented, they helped us travel long distances more effectively. They have become a deadly machine. The harmful effects of cars are overweighing its benefits in 21st century. It is one of the leaders of climate change. Cars, they contribute to pollution, they contribute to heat waves, they lead to more methane and carbon dioxide in the environment, and they reduce the overall well-being. Now, cars, they produce to air pollution, noise pollution, cars lead to congestion, and they are not really a safe option. I mean, injuries due to car accidents are increasing every year in Delhi. So, how can we decarbonize our mobility, commute services, and make streets safe again? We have to comprehend the market, what people are doing, and why they are doing it. If you don't have a car, the city will feel off limits. The city is not walkable or bikeable, and cars are more convenient. Cars are easily accessible, they are available right at your doorstep. Cars are affordable, and it's not just that cars are very affordable, it's just the fact that public transit is so bad that cars just appear to be a better commute option. So, when we talk about cars versus public transportation, this is what we are talking about. If to reach from point A to point B, it requires this much time if you travel by a car, and this much time if you choose bus or public transit, and bike option, that is just not available. So we clearly need to work very hard on improving our public transportation, making it more attractive option for commuters. So few challenges that we are going to face is last mile travel. Delhi Delhi Metro service is a very successful rapid mass transit service, but it's still not what it should be. It still doesn't cover the last mile travel, and it is safe to say that it won't be able to cover the last mile travel because it requires big stations to for operation. The last mile travel option in Delhi at least is rickshaws or cars. It's certainly not cycles or on foot. People don't travel on foot unless they are living very near to a metro station. So we need something for this last mile connectivity. Convenience, if we create something that is as convenient and provides privacy like a private vehicle, then people will demand it. And the fact that a lot of people daily use metro just shows that if you do provide a good service, people are going to use it. People need public transit. But buses, people strictly prefer cars over public buses. And the reason is very clear. So, where do we go from here? We need to improve bus services. Bus services are lacking on a lot of things. You have to wait for them, they are not easily accessible as cars, they are not very effective. Bus travel takes longer time when we compare it to car travel, and we have not we have not created a system where we are allowing people to use bus services. So where do we go from here? In this slide we are going to study different cases. What if we somehow led to zero cars? And it will result in some it will be the largest drop in pollution and congestion PM 2.5 levels, but it won't likely happen anytime soon because it requires incredibly rapid growth of public transportation. And seeing the history of growth in public transportation, we are going a bit slow than what is required. Zero private cars. This also has its own challenges. People are resistant to change. Cars are not just good and better than public transit, they're also a symbol of status. So people won't give up their cars that easily. Zero fuel cars. This seems like the very next step on which we have to work on. We can't force people to take public transit. We can't force people to give up their cars. We can force people to do anything. But what we can do, we can subsidize electric cars, and we can decarbonize our electricity grids to make it more effective and efficient. And it's not just about cars. We have built our environment around cars, which means that cars have allowed us to create offices kilometers away from homes, and it has increased sprawl, urban sprawl. So we have to focus on creating mixed use environments. We have to have more community parks, more public shops, a mix of integration of commercial areas with residential areas, so that people don't feel the need to use cars at the first place. Trees, we need to plant more trees. Trees are the simplest and best technology. They reduce heat, they clean the air, and they are good for mental well-being. Cycles. Now, cycles can be a very good option for the last mile connectivity. But the reason why people don't use cycles in Delhi as much is that the streets really don't allow people to use cycles. The drivers don't drive very safely. Injuries are increasing every year. So, unless we create a safer environment for pedestrians and cyclists, nobody is going to use them. And by when I say that we need to create a walkable and bikeable environment, laying down bike lanes literally on every road is not how a bikeable environment is created. We need to carve out different routes to make bikeability or walkability more effective, that such that if you go from point A to point B by car, it requires 10 minutes, but if you choose a cycle, it will require only 2 minutes. We need to create that kind of environment, and it will take time. I'm not expecting all this to happen overnight, but we have to start working on this. We need to organize our streets. I designed this 3D thing to show what a good boulevard could look like. It should have trees, it should have bus stations, multiple of them. Delhi is going to become, in the coming future, Delhi is going to become the most densely populated area. So we need multiple public transit stations, cycle stations, local shops, housing over shops, bike lanes, and overall creating a safer street environment for pedestrians and cyclists. That's how we will reduce our emissions effectively and efficiently. Now, what we also can do, we know that DTC drivers in Delhi, they are not the best drivers in the world. So perhaps we could look at transforming our conventional buses into autonomous rapid transit, which is more efficient and comfortable, safer for everyone. Yeah, these are the rickshaws that I was talking about. These are the last mile travel option, and this just shows that people, if you provide decent enough service to someone, they will use it. But public transportation, especially buses, are just so bad that people prefer cars on over them. I'm thinking about these rickshaws transforming into these pods, are some autonomous, some driven, and we have to create parking lots if we want to reallocate the vehicles. A lot of vehicles, Delhi does not have dedicated parking lots, at least not a lot of them. So the lot of vehicles are parked on the streets, which just lead to obstruction in the flow of traffic and more congestion. We need to create more parking lots, unfortunately, if we need to reduce congestion. And many cars don't have self parking feature. For that, look at this technology. These are robots which provides self-parking feature to a conventional car. So we need implementations of tools like these on a large scale. And by the way, I also want to say that just by deploying multiple more buses and creating multiple more parking lots is not going to solve the problem. More parking lots, more lanes just attracts more cars. So we need to provide a better alternative parallelly. And what's next? Future. Future of mobility. We have not talked about flying cars. If flying cars become commercially available, then things can get a bit different. But according to me, it won't be happening anytime sooner. We don't have electric aeroplanes, right? Because creating those big batteries to make an aeroplane fly, it is just too heavy. But if somehow flying cars do become available, we need new traffic laws for air, and it would be a very sci-fi thing, very interesting. But what we can do before flying cars, we can elevate the cars a little bit by using zip lines like these. Perhaps this will provide us more space on the ground for pedestrians and for green spaces for public transit. It will reduce congestion, but this requires huge amounts of investment, right? What if we created a public transit system which also gave you the option to go from point A to point B just with the same comfortable environment that a car gives? I think it's possible. Look at these pods. Suppose we create multiple of these pods all around Delhi so that everyone has access to them. You get inside one of those pods, whichever you want, 2 passenger, single passenger, 4 passenger, 6 passenger, and then these pods attach to nearby pods going to somewhat similar destination and form like a light rail on road. And then when you reach your destination, they detach from the light rail and get you from point A to point B. If things like these happen, then and electrification, right? These all will be operating on electricity, then that will be good for everyone. That will create a comfortable, more safer environment and reduce emissions. So the future looks good. Here are the key takeaways. What we need to focus on is mixed use urbanism to reduce or eliminate the need of a car at the first place by integrating residential, recreational, and commercial areas at a same locality. Sustainable development, we have to keep in mind to maintain the ecological balance whenever we are creating a new system or real estate. Healthy buildings, you need to be aware that buildings also play a key role in reducing urban heat island effects, etc. And demand leads to political traction. All of these things will be done, most part of this will be done by government, right? It requires huge amounts of investment, and they won't do it unless we will demand it. We must demand these things. By creating more walkable and bikeable environment, we not just reduce emissions and air pollution, but we also make ourselves healthy. Cars have indirectly or directly reduced our ability to walk, because now we are more dependent on vehicles to travel. So if we'll just walk more or we'll ride bicycles, we'll make ourselves more healthy. Other things, we need carbon sinks, more trees, more water bodies, artificial or natural, to absorb the carbon from the air and clean the air. Walkable and bikeable environments, this is closely linked to mixed use urbanism, because to create a walkable and bikeable environment, we need to have multiple things at a human scale. We need to have offices not too far. Nobody is going to bike for 100 kilometers, right, or 50 kilometers. So first point and last point are closely interlinked. In this way, we'll be able to create solar punk cities in which communities will thrive again, perhaps, and humans will be able to live in harmony with nature.